Yesterday we discussed about working with various events and how do we work with the events. Yep. So next, how to disable, enable, how to show, hide the components also I showed you. Next important we need to understand is about some basic points, like we are going to see another option, that is object oriented. First we need to understand about JavaScript browser objects, how to use and how to work with JavaScript browser objects. Technically, we already learned JavaScript have BOM, browser object model, and DOM, document object model. Two important are there. So browser object model, so that is BOM, and document object model, so DOM. So all these days we were working with DOM, document object model, because you know the difference between DOM and BOM. Actually, the basic difference between DOM and BOM. Let me show you the DOM hierarchy. This is the JavaScript DOM. Actually, this is the JavaScript DOM. So we have the browser object model and the document object model. Technically, what is this BOM, browser object model? Actually, what we learned DOM, this is document object model. That means it is related to document. This is the document model. So this is what we learned. That is DOM. We have that means we learned about how to work with forms, images, and such things. So we have browser model. Browser model means this is the browser model. So in the browser model, we will have options like, in the browser model, we have options like window, we have location, frames already we learned. We have history, navigator. These are considered as browser objects. Generally, we call them as browser objects. These browser objects are very much important for us. In real-time development, even for other technologies, that means Java, .NET, PHP, these people, when they are designing and working with application, they have to use these client-side objects. So for example, I will tell you, suppose if we opened any video on a browser, then immediately browser will alert saying that you need a flash player. Browser will alert and says you need a flash player to watch this video. You don't have a flash player, please install. That means how that website knows that in our browser, which is in our computer, is not having a plugin for flash. Sometimes it says that, you see recently websites, they say that you accept cookies. Cookies are not enabled. Please enable cookies. So how we can know that cookies are not enabled, plugin is not available? All such information we can get by using these browser objects. JavaScript provides browser objects. What are the browser objects JavaScript having? So JavaScript browser objects are JavaScript browser objects. Browser objects we are having, so window object, location object, navigator object, history object, and document object. These are all the important JavaScript objects. These are ready-made JavaScript built-in objects. The main purpose of these objects is to understand the client details, which browser he is using and all such things. And some client-side interactions we can manage by using these objects. Let's see simple how to use them actually. So we have a window object. So it is an browser object that provides properties and methods which are used to control the browser window. So it will have options like, so it will have a member and description. What are the members inside this browser, inside window object? We have open. So it opens any file or URL in a new window. So we have close. So it can close the window. And we have print, like it can print the window. So all these options, it can print the window, right? So all these options are related to window object. So by using this, we can control the window object. For example, let's see how we can deal with them. So I'm creating a new file here. So a separate folder, browser objects. Okay. And here window.html. How we can design that? See, we are using a simple head section and script, and the body. In the body, we are configuring simply button I am defining. So this button is open image, open. Another button I defined as close, and another button I defined as print. And I given JavaScript browser objects. That's the point we have defined. Now in this, you can see when I click on open, I want to open any page, any photo, any file. For example, so open, suppose image. Here we can simply define. You can write inline or you can write in a separate location. Inline also you can write. Na? Inline means, for example, so here directly in the body section, on click of this button, on click. So window is a JavaScript object. Window have a method called open. By using this, you can open any URL. So you have to mention the path. So I'm defining the path. You know, in double quotes, we have to use single quotes, inner string. Path is dot dot slash images slash some shoe dot jpg. Okay, comma. Window have a title. We have to mention the title. So window title. Suppose shoe is the title, comma. Window have options. Options like, do you want toolbar or not? Do you want menu bar or not? How much width and height you want? You have to define width is equal to some 500 and height is equal to so 300. Like this we have defined. So generally how we define the window. So syntax, we have to just define window dot open and the URL and title and the properties. So features. We have to define the features. Features means width, height, menu bar, toolbar, all such options comes under features. Other options, window dot close. Other options like window dot print that you can manage. So that means now another close button I'm using on click. On click is equal to window dot close. Similarly, print on click, we are using window dot print, like this. These are all window. Not only this, if you remembered, we learnt about alert, we learnt about prompt, alert, prompt, all these comes under window category only. That means we have window alert function that is related to alert. So it alerts a message box. We have confirm. It alerts a confirm box. And we have prompt. It alerts an input box. All these are window related properties only, actually. Window related properties only. So we directly used them. Actually, we have to write window dot alert, window dot confirm. But browser can easily handle alerts, confirms, and prompt without that window prefix. So that's the reason we haven't used them. But directly, these are we define and configure. Now, once I refresh this, when I save this and run, here you can see when we are running this. So when I click on open image, it opens image in a separate window. When I click on close, then it has to close the window. The window closes. So similarly, when I click on printer, then it has to open printer properties. So it opens the printer properties so that we can print that page. So all these details are defined here to print. Is my voice audible to everyone? Right? Is it clear now? Yes, fine. Right. So that is the basic. These are the window related objects. Window open, window close, window print. So this is a browser object. By using this object, we can handle several interactions related to the window. The most commonly used open, close, print, alert, confirm, prompt, such things are very commonly used. So Already, if you remembered, we learned about window open in while discussing about links also in HTML, how to open link in a separate window. At the time we used this window open like options. So this is a general important browser objects, how we can deal with that window. So window is for handling the browser window. Similarly, the example, one simple example is this. This is the simple example how we can manage open, close, print like operations. Another important JavaScript object, we have location object. Location. It is an JavaScript object. Generally, location object is used to. It is an JavaScript object. It provides the properties and methods. So, which provides the properties and methods, methods that are used to know the client location details, which are used to know the client location details. Client location details means like what URL he is using, which file he is currently accessing, which port number he is using, which IP address he is using, which protocol he is using. All such details we can access by using location. Location object provides some important properties. So what are the properties provided by location object? Important properties provided by is host. Actually it returns the server name or IP address. We have path. It returns the current path. That is a file name, file and folder. File and folder name will be returned. It returns the current path, which will be file and folder. Another point, you have href. It returns the complete URL. Not only that, it also allows to redirect to URL. Similarly, port. So it returns the current port number. Protocol. It returns the current protocol. So it has search. It returns the query string. We have like another is hash. It returns the current hash. Hash is hash, right? Current hash ID reference. So it returns the current hash ID reference. These all details are returned, and we have a method called reload. It reloads the page. Means it will refresh the page. These are all actually the details. These are all the members of location object. So we can know the client location details by using these properties and methods. Client location details, like you can see currently. Suppose now I am opening this page. Now can you tell me, am I accessing from web server or file server? From which server I am accessing? I am accessing this page from file server or web server. I am accessing this from which server? File server or web server? Currently I'm accessing from file server. You can observe that you have a file protocol, na? Am I right? File protocol. C colon Windows, C colon UI development browser objects, that is all file server. Web server means what it will be? Web server means it will be HTTP, na? Web server means it will be HTTP, right? Yeah. So we can know all these details. We can know all these details by using this location object. Location object. Let's see how we can know the details. So how we can access. That means protocol will get the information, whether it is file, whether it is HTTP, right? Let's see one simple example. I will add another file here. So location .html. Okay. And here I am defining, so head script. And here we have body. In that, just I said location details. Location details. I'm just using a data list with a data term. This is server or IP address. Okay. Data definition. ID is equal to LBL server. Okay. Another data term. I will give reasonable name. LBL host. Host. Okay. Another data term. Protocol. Protocol. And data definition, I will use ID is equal to LBL protocol. Protocol. Okay. Another is URL. We can access that URL. So ID is equal to LBL href. Href. These details I mentioned. Similarly, you can access other details also. These are the details we are mentioning. We are configuring these details. Now let's run this and see here. So I need to get the details. So here we are using button here. So we are using a button, right? Right. We are using a button. And here in the button, so we are defining load details. Load details. Okay. So this is a general button we are having, the load details option. Now when I click load details, those details should be loaded here. Loaded here. So then how we can do that? So on click, load details function should be called. So we are writing the load details function here. Function load details. On load details, we have to get the labels and display information there. So document get element by ID. So LBL host dot inner HTML. There I want to display the server name or IP address if any is there. Remember, if I am using file server, then server name and IP address will not be there. So here, so I am defining is equal to location dot I'm defining host location dot host. It will get the name. Okay. Similarly, get element by ID. So LBL protocol dot inner HTML is equal to location dot protocol. It will get the protocol. So which protocol we are using. Similarly, document get element by ID LBL href dot inner HTML is equal to. So here we defined location dot href. It will get that. Now once I refresh here and click on load details button. So just for design here, I'm keeping a style. So data terms, data term. So here I said background color, some light gray. Okay, gray. Okay, that is the background color for that. Okay. So now font weight also big, bold, bold. Okay. So this is the server IP address. I click load details. You can see those details will come here. But the server name IP address is not coming because currently we are using file protocol. So if you are using file protocol, server name cannot be returned. We can put a proper message also there. I will show you. We can write the conditions. That means, so suppose we can write a condition. How the condition is? Suppose we are writing a condition. If location dot protocol is equal to if it is file protocol. If it is file protocol, then what should happen? I will declare a variable here. So var msg. Okay, here msg is equal to message is equal to you are using file system server. File system server. This message should come. Else we have to display msg is equal to you are using the web server. You are using the web server. We have to define this. We have to configure and define this. So you are using the file system server. You are using the web server. You need to configure this. You need to define this, right? So, and this message I want to show here. That means along with the protocol, I want to display the message also. Then plus BR in the next line, I want to print that message also. So then you can see now, refresh, I click load details. It says you are using file system server. So we can put reasonable message and configure the messages here. Important is, suppose I am using live server. I told you live servers. Even we learned we can access our website from IIS. Already we learned how to create and all. So how do we access from IIS? http://localhost, suppose UI development. In that we have browser objects. In browser objects location.html. So that is our address. You can see this time I am accessing through web server. That means, or you can run in live server. So you can right click and run in open with the live server. Open with the live server. So here we are accessing through our address and click load details. You can see when I click load details, it will get the details. And now you can see it is saying your IP address is server is this because I am using localhost. We can use IP address also now. I told you like 127.0.0.1 and this is, and I click load details. You can get IP address. You can get the protocol and you are using web server this time. It changes the message according to which protocol you are using. And it will get the complete URL and display the URL here. So generally, we have one more method also. Method is nothing but just what we can do is we can use button. So here on click, location dot reload. Reload is a method. Here we are just defining refresh. And when we are using this, you can see now load details, it will load. I click refresh, the page will refresh. Many times one question comes is already we have refresh button, then again why need to create a refresh button inside page? Generally, we need to create such refresh buttons inside the page for working with Ajax like options. While designing Ajax calls, we want to refresh only a portion of the page, not entire page. In jQuery Ajax, we will see how only portion of page will come. So as of now, important is it will refresh the page, but actually it is used with the combination of jQuery, so with Ajax, so that only portion of page will be refreshed. So these are all location related details. Location related details. So I just given few, all others you can try. Suppose if you have any query string, generally if you have any query string, we can get that query string also. For example, query string means usually suppose you see here, suppose here I am adding a button. So I'm adding some text box here. So a div, and here I'm adding name, a text box. So input type is equal to text, and the name is equal to txt. So txt name. And here I am defining a simple button. So that is submit button actually. This is submit. Okay. That is the submit button. And I keep all this inside a form. Inside a form, because form only can submit the data. So we have to make sure that it is inside the form. Okay. Now observe carefully. What happens is by default, when you submit the form, you can see that. So this is, I'm entering the details. So, and I am clicking on submit. The form is submitted. When form is submitted, you can observe here, the query string is present here. The query string is present here. Txt name equal to John. Now we can get that query string because server side technologies, those people use these query strings for accessing the data from URL, transporting data from the URL. We can access that query string. How? Suppose I'm using another button, and here I will say get query string, and on click. So I will say get query string. Okay. And here I will display another data term, query string. So, and data definition. So ID is LBL query. Okay. Get query string. When this function is clicked, that means we have function get query string. When the function is called, I need to get the query string and display. That means document dot get element by ID. And here I need to define LBL query dot inner HTML is equal to location dot search. Location dot search will get the query string. Now observe here, I will refresh. Okay. I will open the page. Okay. I'm clicking load details. When I'm clicking load details, only these details came. Query string is not there. And I entered some name and click on submit. It is submitted. After submitting load details, it is still loading the same details. Here you observe, this time URL is having query string. I will click on get query string. Then it has to get that query string separately. You see now it gets that query string. It is getting that query string. That means you can get the query string. Generally, why we need to get query string? To know what values they have passed in the URL, for what content they are searching for which content they are searching for. So what they are passing data, all these things we can understand by accessing the query string. Actually, what we can do is we can even get only the value instead of accessing complete query string. But for that, we need to use string functions. String functions means, suppose I want to read everything which is present after equal, not this one, after equal. I want to print only the value which what they are using. Then generally what we can do is we have to use string functions. So we will declare a variable str is equal to location dot search. It will get the query string. After that, what we do is it will get the query string there. Now, where username, from the query string we need to get username. How we can get the username? We can get the username by using str, that is the string. Then we can use here the option substring. Substring is a function which is used to extract the string by specified index number, from specified index number. That means start index, end index you have to define. From where you want to read the string? I want to read the string from where equal is present. How to get the position of equal? To get the position of equal, what we have to do? We have to use str, string str dot index of. Index of will get the index number. Index number of which character? Equal, and plus 1, because equal also will be included. I don't want to include. After equal, how many characters are there? I need to read them. That means it will get the index number of equal plus 1. After that, it will pass that index number into substring. Then substring will read from that index number up to end. And finally, that is present inside this username. And here I am adding, so br in the next line, I am just adding. So suppose hello, and plus that username. So username, I am printing that. We are using string functions. Now see what happens is I refresh here, open here. Okay. So I'm refreshing this HTML. Okay. Now I'm entering some name and I click on submit. It is submitted. I click load details. It will get the details. Click get query string. You can see it says hello David. That means we can get only the value that we are looking for. So for that we need string functions. Actually, query search will return the entire query string. Search will return the entire query string. Many times we don't want entire query string. We want only the value. Then we can handle this. For that we need to use string functions. So here, what is the string function? To extract a string, we have to use substring. From which index number you want to extract the string? You have to mention the index of. Which character index number you want to read? Equal. But equal also will be included. So that's the reason equal plus 1. So equal plus 1. That means after the equal position up to end, it will read all the characters and it will store in username. In interviews, generally these type of questions are given to you. So because generally everyone can access the string, but in that filtering, searching for any particular character, extracting only the portion, so such things are defined by using string functions actually. So this is a simple example of how we can get the query string and the value and use that values. So this is a simple example to understand that. So this is an example for defining this. So in this example, we learned about how do we deal. We learned about how do we deal with the location object. So window object to handle the browser window. Location object to know the client location details. One more regularly used option is redirecting. Here important is location href attribute allows to redirect redirect to any specific URL, any specific URL. That means redirection also can be allowed. That means here href is currently getting the URL. Href is currently getting the URL. We can also set the URL. Suppose I will put a data definition. Here I will say that. So I will just put a button. And when user clicks the button, I want to take him to home page in our website. That means go to home. Then here what we can do is on click. So we can define actually location dot href is equal to, we have to define the path. That means so dot slash home dot html like this. That means important is when I refresh here, you can see load details. Okay, I click go to home button, then it has to take us to the home page and show the details. Actually, the home page in our website contains a simple empty box or something is there, and it is redirecting us to the home page and it is displaying that home page. So we can handle redirection by using this method, redirection by using this one. So dynamically redirections are managed by using these options. We can use location href to set the URL also. So this is a general thing. Href is not just getting the URL, it allows you to set the URL. So syntax you can configure in this way. So this is an example of how we can do that. Not only on button click, on any specific action, we can make this happen. User selects home from drop down, then we can take to home. User selects about in drop down, we can take it to about. Such things we can manage by using this href. So this is the location object, how we can deal with the location object. So location object properties and methods which are used to handle the client location details. In that important things we have seen. Another important JavaScript object is navigator. It is a JavaScript object which provides set of properties and methods that are used to access client browser details. Browser details means which browser they are using, which browser family they are using, which version they are using, which language they are using in the browser. So whether browser supports plugins or not, whether browser supports certain files or not, whether browser having the plugins to open certain type of content or not, whether browser is enabled with cookies or not. All such things we can know by using navigator object. Navigator object is used to know the browser details. So client is using browser, and the browser related information we can access by using navigator object. So generally browser related details can be accessed like that. So many properties are present here: member and description. Navigator object, we have app name. Actually it is used to know the browser family. Actually majority of browser families are coming from Netscape. Actually browser name will not come, browser family name will come. Browser family is nothing but all browsers belongs to the family called Netscape. Netscape is the first browser. First browser is actually Mosaic. Mosaic is the name of first browser. After Mosaic, Netscape. And all the browsers that we are currently using, they follow the standards of Netscape. So app name is used to get the browser name, right? So similarly, we have user agent. So it gets the supported platforms. So similarly, platform it returns current platform. Current platform means which platform, which operating system platform they are using. Is it Windows? Is it Linux? So which 32-bit or 62-bit, all such platform details will come. So we can get that details by using navigator. Similarly, important here is, so we can get name, user agent, platform, we can get language. It returns browser language. We can get here plugins. Plugins is an array. That means it returns the collection of plugins supported on your browser. What plugins are supported on our browser? Plugin is nothing but it is a special software tool which is extra installed for browser to support certain type of files like videos, audio, PDF documents like that. So plugins are special softwares installed in your browser to support certain files. Currently, which plugin is installed, which plugin is working, all these details you can get through plugins. Similarly, MIME types. So it returns the types of files supported on server. So is JPG file supported, is PNG file supported, is GIF file supported, is PDF file supported. All such file extensions, what are the files extensions supported? All those details will come by using MIME types. So plugins, MIME types. Another one is like cookie enabled. That means it checks whether cookies enabled or not. That means generally cookies are used for storing and transporting the data. Emails and other transactions usually use cookies for storing the data, transporting. Cookies, all these concepts you have to learn in general server side technologies, because server creates the cookie and sends the cookie to browser. Server reads the cookie and uses the information from the cookie. So whether cookie enabled or not, the details we can get through this concept, through this option. We can handle that. So cookie enabled or not, it will return just true or false. All such details you can do by using this navigator object. So if you want to know the browser related details, then we can use the navigator object. Let's see one simple example here. So I'm using navigator.html, and in this I'm just adding the head section with a script, and we have the body, and here I'm just using some navigator. So data list with the data term. So browser family, right? I want to know the browser family. So LBL, some app. Okay. Similarly, I want to know browser language. So then ID is equal to LBL language, LANG. Similarly, I want to know about platform. So then I'm defining ID as LBL platform. So these are the first basic details. So let's put a button here, and in the button get details, and here we will write a function on click is equal to get details. So we will write a script here, function get details. Get details need to get the details and display those details. And here we have to define just document.get element by ID. So LBL app dot inner HTML is equal to, this time we have to use a navigator object, navigator dot app name. It will get the browser family name. Similarly, document dot get element by ID, LBL lang dot inner HTML is equal to navigator dot language. Similarly, document get element by ID. So LBL, suppose we have a platform dot inner HTML is equal to navigator dot platform. Not only that, suppose I want to know cookie enabled or not. So cookie enabled. So here I defined so ID as LBL cookie. It returns a Boolean value, true or false. That means here I need to define document.get element by ID, LBL cookie dot inner HTML is equal to navigator dot cookie enabled. We can write a ternary operator. So if navigator dot cookie enabled is true, means question mark, we will put here. If it is true, then cookies enabled. So else colon, it should say please enable cookies. Please allow cookies. This message should come. Allow cookies. Now initially, so let's run this and see now. This is navigator details, and here the data terms are there. I will just keep them in a separate. So style, data term, some background color, so light gray. Okay, and here we will keep the bold font weight bold. Okay, now I click here, so I click on get details. You can see navigator will get the browser details. Browser family is Netscape, browser language is English US, platform Windows 32, and cookies enabled. Currently cookies are enabled. Okay, I will do one thing. Go to the browser settings. So Chrome :/settings. We can go to Chrome settings. In the Chrome settings, I am searching for, here I am searching for, so cookies. You see cookies settings will come. You can see cookie settings will come. There is site settings, open site settings. In the site settings, you can see cookies and site data allowed. I will go there. Here there is an option, allow cookies, and I will say block all cookies. I am not allowing cookies. Block all cookies. When I block all the cookies, then I will go and refresh this page. Currently, cookies are disabled. That means cookies are disabled. Block all cookies. All right. This is option we defined. Now I will refresh this and click on get details. So it says please allow cookies because cookies are disabled in my browser. So that is the reason many websites when you open these days they will ask you allow cookies. Why? Because when you log in, when you register, your details are maintained in a cookie so that it can remember those details. It can remember those details. It can remember those details and make those details available across several requests. So that is what actually cookie enabled, right? So if I again allow cookies, so and refresh this page and click, now it says cookies enabled. See, several websites cannot work if cookies are disabled, even like Google also. Immediately they show a message like please enable cookies on your browser. Like you try Gmail, disable cookies and open Gmail and try to log in. It will immediately alert you saying that please allow cookies, otherwise you cannot use Gmail. So you have to mandatorily allow cookies. But the question is how Gmail knows that cookies are not enabled on your browser. That is through Navigator object. That means our Navigator object sends information and based on that it will prepare a message and sends us cookies enabled or not, which platform you are using, which browser. Here one more option is we can even know the plugins, what plugins are supported in our browser. Currently, which plugin is installed in our browser? Is Flash plugin available? Is Chrome PDF viewer plugin available? We can check the plugins. So by using plugins is a collection actually. Plugins is a collection. To know the plugins, because it is an array, you have to use a looping statement. Through looping statement, you can print the plugins. For example, I am writing here a for loop, and through for loop I want to print the plugins. I will create in a separate one. So how do we check the plugins? Copy. This is an example. This is an example for our this object, right? This is an example for that navigator object. Here important is how we can check plugins. Usually for that we need to write a simple script. So let's create a new file. So plugins.html. How do we get the plugins? Just we need to write here a function and F1. And to get the plugins, we have to just use a for loop for var property. So for var property of navigator.plugins. Off is used to return the value. So for var item of plugins. Navigator.plugins is an array. we can get all the plugins from that array. How we can get the plugins? That means it returns all the plugins, and I'm printing document.write. So I'm printing here item plus br line break. Actually, every plugin will have a name. Plugins will return a plugin. Instead of item, I will say plugin. Okay, and I need to get the plugin name. Plugin have a property called name. So it will get the plugin name. So plugin property. So plugins, all the plugins have names because plugin is an object. So plugin object contains a plugin name. So that plugin name will come here. Let's run this and see here. You can see the list of plugins. Currently, these plugins are present. Chrome PDF plugin, Chrome PDF viewer plugin, native client plugin. Every browser don't have same plugins. Suppose I will copy and open this on Edge like browser. On Edge browser, I am pasting this. And on Edge browser, when I try this, you can see Microsoft Edge PDF plugin, Microsoft Edge PDF viewer plugin, native client plugin like that. That means it will get those plugin names. Every browser may have a different plugins. Suppose if I open Internet Explorer, so I have an older version of Internet Explorer. And in this Internet Explorer, I don't have all the plugins. And you can observe here, I will paste that file and try to access. And here you can see, so it is having only few plugins. I will access that. I will access that and use it here. Subversion, right. So you can see that in this now allow blocked contents. Okay, I'm allowing the blocked contents. So it is not having the blocked. Yeah, so it is because I updated my browser to Edge, right? This is no longer supporting all the options. Let's try one thing here. I will put alert. Okay. Open in Internet Explorer. Fine. Allowed blocked contents. So okay. So this browser is outdated now. So because I updated to this plugin, it is blocking this scripts running. Yeah, you can see it says that Internet Explorer has restricted. So you can see Internet Explorer has restricted the scripts to run on this browser, right? So that means every browser will not have same plugins, and some plugins are not supported on every browser. So how you check that? Chrome, it is showing fine. Edge also, it is showing fine. Edge, Internet Explorer slightly outdated, right? If you don't have Edge in your browsers, once check in Internet Explorer. Internet Explorer will have different plugins. Internet Explorer have different plugins. So every browser have different plugins. Now the point is whether the plugin is working or not. Generally, server side people do that. How do we check the plugins? We need to just write this logic. So this is the plugin name we need to access. Generally, plugins are used with MIME types also. So MIME type, I already told you, MIME type means it will tell what are the file extensions supported on your browser. So file extensions, MIME type, multi-purpose internet mail extension. Already we discussed JavaScript MIME type, CSS MIME types. I told you about MIME types in the introduction of JavaScript and all. How do we know the MIME types actually? MIME types also same. What we have to do is it's a plugin. It's a collection for where MIME is in or of navigator dot MIME types and document dot write. We have to use MIME dot type, not name. Plugin have a name and MIME types will have a type. So I will use a line break, and you can see that it should return all the MIME types. MIME types means application / PDF, application Google Chrome PDF. These are the file types, so related to those plugins actually. So plugins and plugin related MIME types. So that means what plugins are installed and what extensions for those plugins. Those extensions are defined here, so that you can access by using the MIME types. Extension different from plugins. Already we learned about that. Kumar Krishna. Extension MIME type difference we already discussed. If you are new to our sessions, we already discussed a difference between MIME type and extension. What we discuss a difference, under every MIME type there are several extensions, and every plugin is a tool. Under plugin tool, several extensions are supported. Understood? Right. We discussed about that when we started JavaScript and CSS plugin MIME types. I told you where we can get the list of all MIME types supported. Can you tell me where we can get the list of all MIME types supported in our server? Where we can get the list of all plugins, MIME types. I showed you once. We can get all of them from IIS. Am I right? All of them we can get from IIS. So IIS. So from IIS, right? In IIS, I showed you there is a MIME types category. There is a MIME types category. In that you will get all of them. MIME type is different. Extension is different. Under one MIME type, several extensions will be there. That's what generally we discussed about that. Right. So how do we check the MIME types? How do we check the extensions? All these are important. For that, we need to know about this navigator object. So navigator object is used to define the MIME types and extensions, right? So please turn off your videos. Anyone turned on the video? Please turn off your videos, right? Right. Okay, so these are the MIME types and plugins. Actually, so many times what we do is we will verify, and if it is not supported, then we will put a message saying that please install this plugin. How generally we do that? For example, how do we check it? So actually what we do is, in order to verify whether that particular plugin is there or not, generally we need to first get the plugin names. The above code gets the plugin names. This gets the plugin names. Then we can check if navigator.plugins of the plugin name is Chrome PDF Viewer plugin is equal to undefined. Undefined means that plugin is not installed. If the plugin is not installed, then we will put an alert saying that please install plugin. Otherwise, else what should happen? Else we will just put a message document.write. So you can use PDF documents. That message should come. That means if I open this now, it will show. So you can use PDF documents because those plugins are present. If that plugin is deleted, is not present, then what happens? Then it will immediately show us this message. Undefined, you know that undefined will verify whether it is available or not. If it is not available, then immediately it shows a message. Generally, we use this logic to identify any specific plugin or available or not. That means example to identify, verify any specific plugin. We use this logic. We will go to navigator.plugins and we will define the plugin name and we will check whether it is undefined or not, and we can handle. These are all related to how we can deal with navigator object. So window, location, navigator. Another important object we have history. It is JavaScript object used to get browser history details. Not all details, but actually browser history related details. Like for example, so it has some member and description. What is the member and description is nothing but browser history details means it will get length. That means total count of pages in browser history. How many pages are there in browser history? You can get the length. And we have forward. That means it moves forward. Forward means to page forward, and back. It will use moves back to history, back. So that means it is like page back, right? Another one we have go. So go to is used to go to any specific page. Go to any specific page in history, not direct pages. In history, if it is there, you can go. These are just used to understand history. Why? Because many times if more history data cookies are there, generally we need to show an alert. Please clean the history. Please clean that, because sometimes the banking applications and all these, they don't want a lot of history to be defined because it occupies more memory, and a problem with the history. Previously used options will continue from the history. That is the reason many websites ask to clean the browser history before using that site, because some previous data will continue through the history details. That's the reason we need to handle this history also. So history, length, forward, backward, all such operations we can manage by using this. That means a simple example here. Suppose I am writing a simple function. So I will just put here document.write. I'll say total number of pages. Total number of pages in browser history. How many are there? I can get that by using history.length. That's it. When I run this, you can see it will show how many pages are in the history. So currently only one page in the history. Currently in the history, you can see I don't have any another page here. For example, here I am opening. So location.html. location.html. Okay. After that, I am using window.html. Okay. Okay. After that, I am using plugins.html. So plugins.html. Now see here, this time I visited 2 pages already. Then you can see that now history is 4. That means including our page, you can see it shows, including the current page, it will show these pages are there in the history. You can click the back button and you can observe, including current page also. Plugins watched 2 times, and a location and window means how many pages you visited in the history currently. We can access that and we can display that. We can manage by using this length is to know the count, how many are there. So you can use even buttons which can go back to the history and display. For example, I am displaying in the document, right? Suppose in body we have a div and we have id as some msg. Here I am displaying, so document dot get element by id, get element by id, and that is msg dot inner html is equal to that message should come. Inside that I am displaying that message. So we are displaying that message. So on body load, that function is equal to f1. That is calling that function. Now when I refresh this, it shows that message there. Now I'm using a button here. This button should take me to the previous page in history. Then I can go simply here. I can write on click is equal to, so look, history dot back. We can use. Then you can see there is a back button here. I click the back button. It will take me to the previous page in the history. Previous page in the history is window.html. So in window.html, I can design forward. It will come back to the forward page. That means what I will do is in window.html, I am designing a button, and this button is forward. And here I am on click is equal to, here we defined history dot forward. And you can see here, I click this forward button, it will go to the forward page. That is our plugin. Back will get back to the previous page. Forward will come to the forward page. So this type of navigation can be handled. So this is from the page. User can manage by using history object. So how many pages are there in the history? You can use like this also. So that means we can define here. So instead of forward and back, you can use go. So it is not go to, it is go actually. Go. So go has an option like this. Suppose go, I said 1. That means it will be forward 1. Suppose I say go and 2, it is forward 2 pages. Word. Go directly. You can write like this. So we can use even go 1. That's a numeric value we have passed there. I refresh back and I click forward, it will come forward. To any specific page also we can take. Just we have to use this simple logic there. Just we need to use this simple logic. So Another example here, we just defined this one. So to know the browser history and to get the browser history details. History details means it will not show what pages you visited. It will show only the count. It will take you to the previous page, forward page, to any specific page in the history that you can manage by using this history, right? Clearing the history, all such things we cannot manage here. For that, that is under the control of browser directly, right? So we can just know the information about the history by using history object. So in the browser objects, these are all the important browser objects. And one more important browser object, that is document. Already we learned it. Document object already we discussed, because all these days you are working with document object. So it provides properties and methods to handle document elements. And whatever you learned, all are document options, like write is a document method. Document document dot write, document dot inner html, document dot get element by id. All these are document related methods only now. So all these. Document has options like append child. All this comes under the document related options. So all these days, whatever the functions and methods we deal with, majority all belongs to the document related. Only additional browser objects we need to understand are these. These are all JavaScript browser objects: window, location, navigator, and history. And how do we deal with these browser objects? Right. Now, how we can create our own like this? How we can create our own like this? That means we want to create our own properties and methods, our own objects. And for that, we need to learn about the concept of classes. We need to understand about the concept of classes. So that means in object-oriented programming. So already we have objects, but these are all built-in objects. How we can create our own classes with our own properties, our own methods, so with our own functionalities. For that, we need to handle and work with the classes and deal with the classes. So what are the classes and concept of classes in object-oriented programming? That we will see in our next session, right? So tomorrow we will continue with these classes. So today entire browser objects finished. We learned about all the browser objects, how to work with them. And tomorrow we will discuss about the classes and work with the classes. Okay. Then once we finish this OOP with class, because we don't have others in JavaScript, we have only classes to deal with, classes and functions. Then we can finish the OOP. Then we can start a combination of jQuery now. How do we work with the jQuery? Right? Tomorrow we will see that, right? Yeah. Not finished. Now don't worry about not discussed, not handled silly thing. You are going to learn everything.